We're good, Gary? Thank you. Okay, would you all please rise and join for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilman Marcocha.
Here.
Councilman Dooley.
Here.
Councilwoman Nicholson.
Here.
Councilwoman Marcotte.
Oh, I put her off mute. Councilman Marcotte, are you here?
I am.
Thank you.
Supervisor Calavita.
Here. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move to appointments, and we have the appointment of Donato Vicaro to the position of Traffic and Parking Advisory Board Committee member, effective January 20th, 2021 through December 31st, 2021. Anyone care to make a motion?
So moved.
I'll second, say. Please call the roll.
Councilman Marcocha.
Aye.
Councilman Dooley.
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Marcotte.
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita.
Aye. Okay. Thank you, Donato Vicaro, for joining up with that very important board. And we've had a couple of people make inquiry about that position, but as other positions develop, we'll certainly reach out and make sure everybody is able to volunteer. Next, we have the approval of minutes for the January 5th, 2021 Town Board meeting. Any modifications or amendments? No, there being none, I'll move to approve same and ask for a second.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilman Marcocha.
Aye.
Councilman Dooley.
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte.
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita.
Aye. Next is the reports of departments, boards, and commissions. Chief Bonsi, while you're here, we can receive your December parking summonses V&T report, and also the traffic accident report, patrol activity, detectives' accounts as well. We also have the annual report, and we noticed that, obviously there are a lot less parking summonses and vehicle and traffic violations, but a lot of that was due to COVID, and we weren't writing tickets, we weren't doing a lot of tickets, moving violations at all, give everybody a break.
It's a little hard, too. In those monthly reports, we do compare, year to year. And obviously, last year, we were in a different position in March, especially during the height in March, April, and May there. It was a little hard to judge. But it seems to be that the parking enforcement is back up again. People are shopping a little bit, and we're definitely making more vehicle stops than we were then. So it's back to normal. And that's a testament to the patrol sergeants and the patrol lieutenants. They really have made sure that we've gotten back up on our feet.
Good.
The department also has started attending the Westchester County Police Academy for the 3-day in-service. Those 3 days are spread out throughout the year, and we participate with all other departments from the county. The first day of those 3-day trainings is firearms, and we're sending officers on a regular basis to that. Our schools are also back in session, and Lieutenant Bernstein is now going to be our liaison to the schools, taking that spot from Lieutenant Hunter, so he'll be kind of getting to know them. I'm going to try to, as soon as possible, get a meeting set up, where we can introduce him and kind of get some dialogue going so that they know that they can reach out to him at any time. I've also been working with Dawn on the town plan, for the COVID response, and, we've had a few cases of COVID in the police department, and we've been, the patrol lieutenant has been working hard to make sure that we trace when someone gets sick so that we know who they've been in contact with, and we've been limiting our time in headquarters, and as I've reported in the past, and it seems to be working pretty well. And just the last thing is just to remind everybody to lock their vehicles. Over the weekend, I think we had a couple of cars entered. As usual, the vehicles are only vehicles that are left unlocked. They're not breaking into the vehicles, but it's a county-wide thing. It's groups of different, suspects from around the county that do hit different neighborhoods and jurisdictions on different nights, but it's been better, and we have been pretty successful with video and people calling in to be able to make some arrest on those cases in the past. So we also encourage people, if they see something or hear something in the middle of the night, encourage them to call us, not to be, afraid to call the police department. Sometimes we'll get a call the next day and somebody heard something and they didn't want to call. We would, encourage people to call at any time. That's what we're there for. We're there 24/7, so we're able to respond.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to the Law Department report.
Yes, good evening. First, I have a resolution as follows. It's for the notice of intent to serve, for the town board to serve as lead agency in the secret review of local law, providing for the amendment of certain sections of local law number 5, 2000, which was last amended by local law number 1, 2019, the zoning law of the town of Eastchester, which includes sections 2.d regarding the definitions for fast casual, quick casual restaurants and food service establishments, and further section 4.c.6, which deals with the schedule of non-residential district regulations related to permit studio uses in the design shopping centers zoning district, and further note that the last board meeting we scheduled for the February 9th, 2021 meeting, the public hearing on that. And further, in relation to this resolution, I'd ask the board to adopt the following. Based on this application, that the town board of the town of Eastchester hereby classify this action as a type 1 action of the SECRA and declare itself to be lead agency for the SECRA coordinated review of this type 1 action. I'm going to circulate a lead agency notice, which is required by law, and a supporting documentation to the planning board, and as an involved agency in the SECRA review. Also, involved agencies, which will be the County of Westchester, will be given 30 days' notice from the date of this transmittal of the lead agency to consent to the town board serving as lead agency in the secret review of this action or challenge such lead agency designation.
All right, so basically, we're just declaring ourselves lead agency and classifying this as a type 1 action.
Correct.
Okay, I'll move that. Ask for a second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilman Marcocchio?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita?
Aye. All right, we have our Highway Department report. Mr. Latella, how are you? Saw a little bit of snow coming down this afternoon. I got nervous for you.
Good evening, Supervisor Calavita and members of the town board. I'd like to report our first snowstorm of the season on December 16th brought in over 8 inches of snow to our area. Our employees and equipment were all ready to go, and once again, we worked diligently to provide safe roads throughout the 24-hour storm that occurred. Our 2021 sanitation and recycling schedules were mailed to residents this year. If you did not receive a schedule, please reach out to the department, and once again, we'll deliver it to you. Just a note, Christmas trees and green waste pickup throughout the winter months will be picked up on an unscheduled basis. 2020 provided a challenge at times. Employees were quarantined, we were short-staffed, but the great work ethic of our department endured, and we continued our great service to our residents. The highway garage also experienced a challenge. Due to delays and closures during this pandemic, vendors were not always readily available to us. A reorganization and upgrading of all facets of repairs was taken, including a computer system for diagnosing repairs and preventative maintenance, new tools and materials for easier and efficient repairs. These upgrades have given us the ability to be more self-sufficient and increase our productivity and repairs, keeping our equipment prepared for us. I commend and thank the department for their great work ethic and in providing a great service to our residents. Thank you, Supervisor Calavita, members of the town board. I have nothing further to report.
Thank you very much. Anything further from Mr. Latella? No? Thank you. Good job. Okay, next we have the receiver of taxes report we can receive and file for the month of December. Town clerk's report also for November 2020. Anything further? No. Okay. That brings us over to the correspondence agenda. We have a memorandum from the controller on the 2020 year-end budget transfers. You have a list of transfers, basically, evening out all the different activity in the budget during the course of the year. I'll make a motion. Ask for a second, please.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilman Marcoccia.
Aye.
Councilman Dooley.
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte.
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita.
Aye. Next, we have a memorandum from the Controller on designated depositaries and authorized signatories. We're going to use, of course, we have J.P. Morgan, Oceans First, Sterling, New York Class, People's United, TD Bank, and Signature Bank, and the signatories are myself, the Controller, and the Junior Accountant. I'll make a motion. Ask for a second, please.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilman Marcoccia.
Aye.
Councilman Dooley.
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte.
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita.
Aye. Next, we have a memorandum from our library director awarding a window replacement project bid for the Eastchester Library. We went out to get bids for all of the windows, and there's a resolution presently requested authorizing the execution of a contract by myself between Ross Window Corporation, the low bidder, and the town of Eastchester in the amount of $349,450 for the window replacements at the Eastchester Public Library. Someone care to make a motion on it?
So moved. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilman Marcoccia.
Aye.
Councilman Dooley.
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte.
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita.
Aye, and hopefully those windows get in as soon as possible. Be more efficient and certainly better for the library. Okay, miscellaneous business. We had the February Town Board meeting date. Due to February winter recess break falling on the time we'd have a meeting, I'm requesting the Town Board approve, change the date of the February Board meetings to one meeting for Tuesday, February 9th, 2021 at 7 p.m. here in this room. Someone care to make a motion?
So moved.
All right, I'll second same. Please call the roll.
Councilman Marcoccia.
Aye.
Councilman Dooley.
Aye.
Councilwoman Nicholson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte.
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita.
Aye. Next is council member reports. Councilman Marcoccia.
Thank you, Supervisor. Okay, just a couple of things here. Because of COVID, Ecap was forced to cancel its Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. annual breakfast. While the breakfast honors the life lessons and living contributions of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., it also serves as Ecap's largest fundraiser. This year, in the absence of this breakfast, Ecap is doing a mail-in fundraising campaign. If you are interested in making a contribution, please reach out to the director, Denise Chin, at 914-337-7768. By means of an update for Ecap, just a quick high-level update, Ecap has continued on during this COVID-19 pandemic. During the first 4 months of the pandemic, Ecap worked alongside the National Guard to distribute breakfast and lunches to the community. The food pantry and distribution services never stopped providing during the pandemic period and have proven to be so important to so many families. In fact, since the beginning of the pandemic in December of 2020, Ecap distributed 6,419 bags of food, a 121% increase over the same period in 2019. They also took all appropriate precautions and made any necessary modifications to the building, which allowed their vital after-school program to continue during such unpredictable times. As Ecap moves forward, they plan on continuing many of their outreach programs, as they are needed now more than ever. Again, if you are able, please consider donating to Ecap. Checks should be made payable to the Eastchester Community Action Partnership, and they can be reached at 914-337-7768. I also want to encourage, I know we sort of do this almost every meeting, but our local businesses are so vital to our town, and they've done so much for us over the years, and to the extent that you can patronize them, all of them, as many as possible, I know that they would appreciate it, and you're doing a service to our town. And then finally, I ask everyone, the library is doing such a really, really good job with delivering programs, and they have been for a very long time through COVID. There's a list of opportunities that you can participate in. I encourage you to look at their website and to sign up if there's any that interest you. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilman Dooley?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Yeah, I'd just like to echo with Mr. Marcoccia with Ecap. It's a shame that the breakfast was canceled or wasn't held this year. for good reasons. But it's always a great event, and encourage you to support Ecap. It's a great organization who do a lot of great work. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilwoman Nicholson.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening. Just a word from the Recreation Department. They're offering several virtual mini camp options over the February break. One being Mad Science Invention, Crayola Imagine Arts, and Academy and Chess Wizards. These programs are offered throughout the day from February 16th to 19th. So please check out the website at www.eastchester.org in the Parks and Recreation section under the virtual February break minicamp programs. And that should be on the left side. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Councilwoman Marcotte.
Thank you. Can you all hear me? Because I'm having difficulty hearing you. Okay. I just wanted to mention a couple of things. Westchester County is having their public health awards, and they are looking for exceptional students or health heroes who have helped during the pandemic. We would like to honor these people, and rightfully so. I'm sure there'll be no shortage of names from our community. And they can, if they want to nominate somebody, they can go to the Westchester Gov Board of Health website and go to their awards section, and they can nominate any of their neighbors or friends or anyone, again, who has been exceptional during the pandemic. And then just briefly, I want to thank all the people who have been continuously volunteering to be Snow Angel. I know Teresa Nicholson has been very involved, and Tuckahoe trustee Gina Lee. We do have a request for a Snow Angel on Mill Road. So if anybody has any interest in doing that, they can contact either Teresa, myself, or Gina. I have no further report. Thank you.
For my own report, we got a lot of calls on the COVID vaccine, and, I think people in the town are under the impression that the town will be handling this. Just so we're clear, our town government is not able to participate in these shots or the vaccinations. Right now, there are presently no appointments available at the county center. The county center is booked through April. Someone told me earlier today that they were booked through part of May also. So I'm not sure, what we can do to help people out. Someone told me that there's a Rite Aid in Carmel, New York, that's doing shots there. You can wait online. There's a drive-through and also, a place you can walk in. But honestly, when seniors are calling here, we're just telling them the truth. We don't have any shots available. People were calling and complaining that they were on the phone for 3, 4 days, 5 days, my mother included for that matter, and could not get through. When they got through, they were on hold for a while, and then they got hung up upon. So, for now, as of now, the vaccines are given out by appointment only at the assigned sites. As I'm gathering, too, you can't call your doctor. They don't have them. There are sites around. I know someone had said that the Armory down by Columbia Presbyterian in the city is giving out shots. I don't know. There are other locations, the county center, hopefully Westchester Medical Center, but all of this information is not available to us. Like, we don't have a vaccine to give out. I will tell you, though, if we could get our hands on 20,000 units, I had a bunch of nurses in this town call and say, if you can get them, we'll give them out. We'll give these shots out. And I thank them profusely. But I don't, we don't have accessibility to that. It's a shame because the state government really could have stepped up here and shined, and kind of made up for a lot of stuff. But I guess their hands are tied too. I don't know. All I know is, about a little less than half of what should have been given out has been given out. We are not in the loop. We are not like, in the springtime or the winter into the early spring. We would give out flu shots from Lawrence Hospital, from other places, right? This is not like that. These shots are specialized, have to have special temperature controls. There's repeat shots, of course, for, I think for the Modernas or whatever. But the point is, we don't have access to it. We are not able to do it for you. If we could, we would. but we cannot. This is being very much controlled by the state and all, and unfortunately, they're doing the best they can, but it's just not happening fast enough. And hopefully, that resolves itself and they kind of get this boondoggle off the ground and start distributing shots by whatever means. I mean, if someone were to offer us shots, we take them and we get them done immediately. But, that's not what we're able to do. So please be patient, persevere, go onto the website, try to get it together, and try to, hopefully you can get through. That's about all I can say about it, unfortunately. Other than that, I'm just going to stop at that. So you have our second opportunity to address the board. Is anyone upstairs waiting to be heard? Yeah, please send them down. Thank you. Good evening. Okay, just give us your name and address, please.
I'm Mary Ann Bateman from Green Knolls,
Thank you.
13 Vassar Place. And my question for the evening regards the settlement of the Fair Housing Justice Center versus the town of Eastchester. My question is this case behind us yet? And if so, when will the terms of the settlement be made public?
Well, I'm sorry.
And if not, when will the settlement be reached?
But in as much as it's ongoing litigation, we're not going to speak of the merits, but the parties have commenced a dialogue with regard to settlement, and we're not there yet. We had an assignment to a mediator, and we've gone back and forth. We have a couple more meetings established.
Okay. All right. Well, will it be part of the agenda when there is a settlement, when a settlement is reached, when any impasse is broken through?
Yes, normally. I mean, right now there are issues with insurance coverage and all kinds of stuff going on. But at some point, it'll be made public, but we're not at liberty to discuss it at the board meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Damon Marr. I'm your Westchester County legislator. Happy New Year to all, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak a little bit about county issues as they pertain to our constituents in common here in Eastchester. First, the vaccines, yes, it's not a town or village thing. It's not a county thing, although the county center is being used. It is a state thing. Hopefully in the new administration, there'll be a little bit more coordination, and we'll see, with regard to the federal government and some uniformity between the states in setting up their different phases. I mean, I can give you, it's of interest to me because I turned 65 2 days ago. And,
You're eligible.
And I'm getting information like you are, or just people who talk a lot to their neighbors, or to people who've gotten vaccines. And yes, the one at Columbia Presbyterian, 168th Street, try this one, try this link, vaccinetogethernY.org. And it puts you into this network. I filled it out. This is one where they say they're going to contact you. A lot of them, you just have to keep doing this. So this I found out from my elderly neighbor next door. She got her daughter was coming to pick her up to drive her down to Columbia Presbyterian.
Yes, and David, I presume, not to interrupt you, but I presume that you're on the same call I am with the county, and the county was completely candid, that this is not within their purview, nor is with us, and they're telling us to be honest with everybody,
Yeah.
as they are, that, listen, when we get it, you'll get it, but right now, it just seems to be just stuck
Yeah,
in gear.
it's very frustrating, and, we talk to our state legislators, who are very good in this district, and, they're saying the same thing. We're finding things out. It's subject to change without notice, like twice a day. People should be patient. The fact that some people are getting vaccinated is a good thing, no matter who they are, because there's less exposure to people who may be positive or contract the disease. Any event. Topics I have. So last time I mentioned the WebEx system and Zoom and that sort of thing, and we are at the county going forward. We've had public hearings by WebEx for several months now. We went back into our chamber, at least 5 of us went into our great big chamber for our last meeting last week, and we have a big TV screen now, which shows anybody's going to make a comment for a public hearing, plus the legislators who are not there. There's a complication with regard to this sort of thing, where it's just public to be heard, because we only do 10. We limit it to 10 people, and it's 10 first come, first serve. And the question is, somebody calls by phone, somebody logs in, and then just juggling those, getting them in order. And if there are more than 10, you have a problem, because then, as you know, if you've done any of these Zoom things, more people sign up than actually show up. And so that's a glitch that needs to be worked out. And as people have been saying, I hope for greater transparency, your board will do something along those lines to have people be able to call in. As you have Councilwoman Marcotte doing that this evening. So second topic, I want to talk about the Westchester County Police Reform and Reimagining Task Force, of which I'm a member. I was put on as one of the Board of Legislator representatives after, you remember, Lyndon Williams became a judge, so I replaced him on one of the seats that was available to the Board of Legislators. It's near, the task force is very near to formalizing its findings, recommendations, and suggestions. The report will not defund or abolish the police. I'll summarize a few things that may be of interest to Eastchester in this. First of all, as you may know, Westchester County Public Safety runs the academy for all police officers in all the municipalities in Westchester County. And there will be much greater time expended in training, in talking about unconscious biases, cultural awareness, handling mental health calls, that sort of thing, and domestic violence calls. And also a category called active bystander. It has to do with unfortunate situation with George Floyd, where there was the officer who was kneeling, but there were 3 other officers who were there, and there are psychological barriers to intervening. And the way these courses, I've been to sort of shortened versions of these courses on active bystander and unconscious bias, and they're very good because they could be given to anybody. It's not like they're accusatory to the police. You're terrible, you're all racist, that sort of thing. No, they talk about the psychology of how the mind works. Why, for example, a younger person in any capacity, like a younger cop in tandem with an older cop, is a hesitancy to tell them, you're making a mistake. And the mistake, and quite often the mistakes are kind of mistakes that hurt the police. I mean, the example was given, a young officer saw a senior officer put handcuffs on incorrectly, or not, the modern way you think you're supposed to do it, and ended up with the incarcerated person, being able to wriggle through and wrestle a gun away from a cop with very bad consequences, as you might see. So, it tends, those who go through this, by and large, they buy into it. And again, this is for an academy and in-service training as well for guys and gals who've been around for a while. Second aspect I can talk about is the opportunities for shared services. In terms of, kind of back office IT stuff like data collection, you have the accelerated pretrial discovery in criminal cases under criminal reform law, and also a concept that I've kind of done a lot of research on, which is this mental health response unit, where instead of sending a couple of policemen with all the paraphernalia they have to a situation where a family is called about a family member who has ongoing problems and, is emotionally acting out in a strange kind of way, you can send this special unit, which will be generally in the programs that have worked over the years. One person is a medical type, an EMT, nurse type person, and the other is more of a, counselor, social work type person, and has a better idea of how to de-escalate situations and get people properly placed, with the full wraparound mental health or social services type services, rather than, having the guy brought to jail, another expense, or being shot in some of those systems. It was a very high percentage of these unfortunate fatal shootings involve people who are acting out, emotionally disturbed people who need a different kind of treatment. And this is kind of, I put this under shared services because be the kind of thing that to be cost effective, it would have to be spread out more of a region, maybe a town next to a city. And I'm kind of plugging for Lower Westchester somewhere, say like New Rochelle paired with Pelham, which is closer, nearby. Eastchester and Tuckahoe, maybe a sector with like Eastern Yonkers, that sort of thing. It's going to be something like that. It needs to be worked out. In fact, there's been some budgeting for that sort of thing for this year. What else? There is going to be some sort of office of police accountability in the county. In New York City, they have the Civilian Complaint Review Board. It's going to be a separate independent entity that will have subpoena power, professional staff. It's going to be the theory is countywide. You can get, again, better bang for your buck and more professional handling it, be anti-retaliation clauses, and because of, I believe because of New York home rule, you opt into it. This wouldn't be automatically a requirement of every town and village. My understanding is that towns, villages, and cities would have to affirmatively opt into it, and that enforcement would be up to those towns and villages and cities after the fact-finding and recommendations made by this entity. Again, this is still a work in process, but I think that's pretty much the trajectory of what's going to happen. And the other, so the other thing about what we're doing is something of a template for you to use. I understand, Mr. Supervisor, you spoke briefly last meeting about the sort of committee you're going to put together pursuant to the governor's order. And so the little known fact, the county police actually, there are two up-county towns where the county police are the police. They've disbanded the regular police. So we have done the exercise of looking at what normal municipal police departments do, in addition to what the county police do, which is mostly parks and parkways and that sort of thing. So that'll be available pretty soon as a template. I mean, I could give you parts of what it is already. Likewise, New Rochelle is pretty far advanced in the process. A very good friend of mine is the city council woman who's coordinating that. And, you know, if you want to call on me to give you some of what they have to say. But to a very large extent, you can look just due south, where are we? To the village of Tuckahoe. You know, I've spent some time there, and I was at their first presentation, and all the comments, the citizens' comments, were all very, very positive. Granted, it's a different situation. It's very, you know, it's a very small community. There are officers who were raised there, officers who now live there, and there are officers who were raised there and still live there. And they get out of their cars, sometimes on bicycles. They know people. You know, I know personally from just a couple of very bad mental health issues that cropped up in the last couple of months, that it's good that they know the people, they know what they need to do to de-escalate and try to get them the help they need, which is where the county comes in, and, you know, doing the best we can and with limited resources as well. And, you know, so they're sort of the model of this community policing, but again, you know, it's less than 2 square miles, and you can walk it. You know, I can understand you're not going to have folks, you know, walking down suburban streets around here, but it gives you ideas of some of the connections that you can make with the, you know, they have the pizza party and the free ice cream and that sort of stuff that kind of draws the people in. Oh, the dam. I have to bite my tongue before saying the dam, of course, Lake Isle. So, you know, supervisors, you pointed out that there are 2 different studies, or there's a final study that improves on the original study or whatever it is. And so depending on what you believe, it's either an emergent situation or it's something else. It's something that needs, you know, going to remove some trees so roots don't go into the earthen dam, into the masonry part of the dam, and that sort of thing. And so the question is, in any event, there's going to be maintenance and repairs that are going to be necessary and could be quite extensive. And so the question is who, you know, obviously, who pays for all this under the situation? And as someone who represents folks all around, you know, both sides of the border, you know, I don't want to see people get stuck. I mean, there are, you know, there are well-off people around there as you start one part, and there's kind of middle class and, you know, pretty upper middle class type people, and there are people in townhouses who, when I've met them, they're mostly retired people. I see, you know, empty nesters that have downsized, and then, you know, there's the Interlaken and Channing Place co-ops, and those are generally not rich people, and this is kind of a big thing to saddle them with. And I know Assemblywoman Paulin is on the case to help, you know, the 2 municipalities, Eastchester and New Rochelle, and their folks, because, you know, it's more than just, the benefit is more than just creating a beautiful lake for the folks who live right around there, but of course, you know, you are protecting the folks downriver, whether it's, you know, whether the water is going to run straight down the Hutch under the Hutchinson Parkway, under one scenario, or it's going to wipe out villages along the way. I mean, either way, we have to get this worked out. But it does lead to an issue that was just discussed by Ms. Bateman, and that is the concern that if we are seeking funds, federal, state, county, and we have this suit outstanding, there could be a problem. Because I know certainly for federal, I always say CBGB, but it's CD BG, Community Development Block Grants. You know, I know that you have to certify that you don't have any fair housing issues. And that may be a stumbling block to state and county money. I know with me, I think it's a problem. And I think with some of the other legislators, if we're looking to help Eastchester, that thing, you know, it's out there. And I'm glad you're saying there are settlement discussions. Because, you know, there's, you get hit pretty badly if you don't get a reasonable settlement, or if it's litigated to the end. Some of the up-county towns have found reasonable terms to settle on these kind of cases, and you know, they're still there. Their character has not changed substantially. And from my perspective, you know, it's the right thing to do. I mean, as we discussed last time, you know, I think commercial and office space after the pandemic, I don't think they're, you know, now I'm just speculating as a non-expert, but it doesn't look like they're coming back. But there's always going to be demand for rental units and just residential in general. And, you know, you can't draw a moat, you can't dig a moat around Eastchester. People come, new people are going to become. That's just a matter of fact. And then finally, there is that big financial consideration. And if you follow that case with the East Ramapo School District, they lost a you know, different kind of civil rights suit, and you know, they paid their attorneys $7 million, and then they were ordered to pay the plaintiff's attorneys $4.3 million. So those are kind of bad numbers that you don't want to be looking at. And you know, if I read your comments right, I mean, there's a concern over. I don't know if you have a declaratory judgment action going or whatever regarding your insurance coverage, but it's a difficult one. Finally, I just wanted to talk briefly about the events at our nation's capital on January 6th. And, you know, being in a legislative body, I hope, like I said, at the very least, I hope there aren't a bunch of people coming in here to pull us away from doing the people's work. You know, we can disagree vehemently, and but not be literally at each other's throats. I was going to make some comments about some material that was on Facebook regarding, well, promulgated by Ms. Marcotte, but I feel it's unfair to go into that while she's not here. And maybe that's for another day. I think, you know, for right now, I think it's a good idea for us all to cool down and watch the inauguration tomorrow and work for better days. And that's it. Thank you. And
Thank you. We are extending you past your 5 minute, past the
I'm
5 minute
sorry.
curve, because you have you have elected officer status.
I thank you for the courtesy. I think,
No
you know,
problem.
especially since you
Anytime.
know most you know, like 3 minutes, 4 minutes tops.
Yeah, I know.
But you know, I thank
Of
you,
course.
and yeah, as
Very
I say, please, I want to work cooperatively on stuff that we can, and you know, the stuff we're arguing about, we'll argue about it. But as you know, human beings, out in the open. I like, you know, this is why we have open meetings, so we can raise
Well,
topics.
as my father used to say, no matter who gets elected, we all got to go to work the next day. So we all got to get along. Thank you very much, Dan.
You're welcome.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Good evening. Just give us your name and address, please. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kara Cronin. I live at 88 Maple Avenue in Tuckahoe. Okay. So I just wanted to say thank you, actually, because last week I just realized that somebody asked to have the town council meetings put on YouTube, and that was really great for me. I don't know if you realize, but some of the younger generation, we don't have cable, and so we don't have access to watching on Verizon or cable. With that being said, I would like to just make another plea to put the meetings online totally on Zoom. It would be really nice to have more participation, and I'd like to be more involved in my local community. I do go to the meetings regularly in Tuckahoe. I went to a few before. I go to all of them now because they are online. And they run pretty well. And so this is just a formal plea to ask that the meetings be broadcast both on the internet, both on cable, but also on Zoom or WebEx.
Okay. Well, we've talked a lot about that. I don't know if we're inclined to do that, but thank you for the pitch. Putting them on YouTube, I guess, or on the town website, YouTube, I guess, is the platform, I think was a very good idea. And we had been thinking about that. What happened was in the past, there was an issue of retention of storage space. But by going through YouTube, it makes it easier because we're not clogging up anything. So that worked out pretty well, and everybody can watch it. You know, the next step would be maybe inventorying all of the things as they come up. So we'll try to figure that out too. But
it would be nice to be able to watch them in real time, though. Right now, we can't watch them in real time. Like, I actually came here to watch, and I was sitting in the waiting room upstairs because it's the only way for me to be able to watch. So if I want to ask a question, I have to be sitting here. Otherwise, I see it after the fact. You know, I understand your issue of retention, but I think probably you could just transfer the videos onto YouTube after the fact, couldn't you?
Possibly, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good night.
evening. Anyone else, Chief? Sure. Thank you. No, that's it? Okay, great. Okay. Sheila, I know you can't see us, but there are no more speakers for the opportunity to address the board. We had a couple people tonight. Okay, so that being said, so can I make a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
All in favor?
Second.
Aye. Aye. Thank you.
Aye.
I'm going to hang up on you now.
Thank you.
Bye now.